It's a good idea to have backstops in place regardless if you're brand new to memory competitions or been training for a while. Now, a backstop is something that lets you know, hey, you've gone too far, you're wrong, you're off track. Go back and fix the mistake. So let's say you're memorizing some numbers. Now, depending on how many numbers you memorize at one time, you're always going to be in a specific location on X amount of numbers. So let's say at the end of the row, you're supposed to be in the 7th location. But when you're memorizing, you realize you're at the end of the row and you're in the 5th location. You screwed up, okay? And that's where that backstop will be like, hey, dude, you're in the wrong location. Something's wrong. Now, what you do to fix it really depends on what you practice, or maybe you haven't even thought about it, which is a big mistake. But if you're here at the 5th location and you're supposed to be in the 7th, that means you might have skipped some digits in here, or maybe memorized some extra. No, something happened in here. So what that means is, okay, you either go back and try to fix a mistake, or depending on how far the mistake is in, so it's the first row, I would just completely memorize it over again. Get a new palace and start over. Because it doesn't make sense to waste time trying to figure it out and then trying to override or trying to move your images and your locations to another location. It's just a big mess, right? So for me, it's better just to start over. But let's say, I'm at the very, like this position right here, and I realize I messed up on these ones. I might go back and try to fix it, or just kind of fix this portion by placing it into another location, right? A different palace. And so you need to have these backstops in place, because regardless of what the event is, there's always a chance to mess up. That's a great thing about memory competitions. You can always mess up regardless of how long you've been training. And so you always want to have some sort of backstop in place to let you know, hey, dude, you're messing up right now. Fix it. Because if you go through and try to memorize everything, and then when you're recalling, you're like, oh man, why am I not at the right location? Why aren't the digits in the right places that they should be? At that point, you're pretty much screwed, because you can't do anything because you don't have the information in front of you anymore, right? It's all gone, and so all you have in front of you is your recall and the images that you currently have in your head, which apparently are wrong. And so you always want to have some sort of backstop in place regardless of the event, regardless of how long you've been practicing. It's always a good idea. And it applies to cards, historical dates. Probably names is one that really doesn't apply, because I guess it depends on the method. If you're memorizing the names in the palace, it might matter, but the method I use, image to the face method, it really doesn't matter. There's no mistake I can really make there, because every name is independent of every single other name, and every face, the same thing, right? And so you just want to be aware of what you're doing, and if you have these backstops set in place to let you know, because if you're able to catch yourself before you continue making this mistake, you have a chance at least doing better than you would have if you continued with that mistake you're making. And so it takes a lot of practice to kind of get used to it, realizing, okay, in this location, I should be at X position. Because the worst feeling is getting to maybe the very last location, right? And realizing, oh crap, I have this additional information to memorize still. I messed up. And at that point, you know that you're screwed. And at that, it's just a wash. You're like, okay, check it. Let's go again. But if it's an event that you don't have 2 trials, you're like, okay, that event is just down the toilet, whatever. So I just want to give you a little bit insight on what I do when I memorize information, especially for competition, that I know I should be in the specific places, have these backstops in place that let me know if I messed up. That's something that happened when I was memorizing some historical dates. I didn't practice like I should have, and so I made something up on the spot, and boy, did I mess up. I just kind of fudged something together real fast, and when I was actually going through and memorizing, I'm like, oh crap, I messed up completely, because I did the first location would be 1,000, and so on, second location 2,000 and whatever. But I realized you have 1,000 and then you have 1,100, and so 1,100 wasn't in the second location, because for me, I don't know why, I thought your 1,000 should be in the first location. But technically, that would be like 0, 0 to me. And so what I did was, for the 1,100s, I put that at the very end. that was the easiest solution for me to do because I didn't realize I made that mistake until I came across a date that was 1100 something. I was like, oh no, wait, that can't be in the second location. The second location has the 1200s. I was like, oh man, dude, do something, you know? And so that's what that's how I fixed it on the fly by placing it all the 1100 dates in the very last location. That's what I was able to do at that moment. Was it the best? Was it not? I don't know, but I was able to do something. I get an okay score for not being prepared and screwing up during the middle of it. But yeah, so I just wanted to share that with you because it's something I think most people don't consider. Hopefully you enjoy this video, and I'll see you next time.